Hi, third graders. Today we will go back to yesterday's tree map and we will look really closely and identify some feelings that those characters had. We will also be using some details that will give us some clues as to what caused those feelings. Our job today is a big one. We need to look at those text details to identify and figure out what caused the characters' actions. Why did they behave the way they did? And when people behave a certain way, something motivates them, which means something causes them to behave that way. So that's our job today. And I like to track my thinking in a thinking map because it helps me organize my ideas. And I don't always know what kind of thinking map I will make, but the thing that helps me figure that out is that guiding question. Once I can ask a question that I'd like some answers to, then it helps me figure out what kind of map makes the most sense here to show that thinking. So the question I'd like to ask today is, which actions caused the character's feelings? So where does that guiding question go? Down here at the bottom, inside the frame? Nope, right up here on the top. And the question was, which actions caused the character's feelings? And anytime I write, I do go back and reread to make sure that I have everything I want to say. Which actions caused the character's feelings? I did it again. I forgot that question mark. Question marks always go at the end of a question. So which actions caused the character's feelings? Now, I need to put this to get all of my ideas in one space. And what's this box called? Does anyone remember that from the last time we made a map? Yeah, it's called a frame. Maybe like a frame that you have in your house that you keep a picture in. This frame will hold all of our thinking. So the thinking that we need to do today is we need to figure out Patricia's motivation and Richie's motivation. What caused these two main characters to act the way they did? So when I see that word caused, that is a really big clue. And I'm thinking I need the kind of map that shows a cause and effect. Okay, so what kind of map is that? Do you remember the name of it? It's called a multi-flow. Multi means many, and flow is a direction that things happen in. So a multi-flow shows us many directions of what's happening in our thinking. So let's get that character's name right in the center. And the character that we're focusing on with this map is Patricia. And we're looking for her motivation. Motivation. And I will put a box around that. And we're looking really closely to figure out what motivated her or caused her to act in a certain way. So before I even get started, I need my source of information. How will I know where to get this information to fill out this map and help me with my thinking? So I know that we had the book, Rotten Richie. If you have a different color, that's a good idea to write that source up there in a different color. We like to use green to show the source. Rotten Richie and the Ultimate Dare by Patricia Polacco. So another thing that I told you about was when something is written down, if it's in a video or in a book, you should pause or stop where that's written down and then check the spelling of it. So when you copy that title, you spell it all correctly. Okay, so that's our first source. And the second source is the tree map of the character's feelings. So this is really important because these are the two things that will help us organize what we need to think about today. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go back to my tree map from the other day. And you notice that I added some more characters. I figured out that the narrator's name was Patricia. She's the one telling the story. And I have a bunch of different ways she was feeling and some details on the side. Then I spoke about or wrote about Richie, which is her brother. And the mom stood out. There was a part when she was a little frustrated, so I thought it would be okay to note down her feeling. And then at the very end, you see, I noted the teacher's feelings. I forgot her name. I should probably go back and listen to that in case that detail is important, or reread that. And then I put how the teacher was feeling at different parts throughout the story. So the important thing to know here is I ran out of room. These two characters, Patricia and Richie, they were having all sorts of feelings throughout the whole story. So it's okay to flip your map over and continue your thinking. I thought it was really important that I get my ideas down. So for this part, I didn't worry too much about the frame. But if you have the time and you can, definitely put your frame and those other pieces that you might need. Okay, so what we're doing today is we're breaking this apart. And instead of it being all scrunched here, we need to kind of put it in a space where it shows us exactly what caused, what's this effect here of her being unhappy and this cause. We need to show this in our thinking. So I'll put my map right up top and I'm going to look to that first detail. And the detail here is that she talks about her moving and her brother. So there was a part of the story when Patricia talks about the move and she talks about her brother. So that's an important detail that I'm taking from here, and I'm using that as the cause. This is the why. What is she doing? Why is she, feeling a certain way? So she's moving and she starts talking about her brother. And I will put that arrow right here. I like to put my arrow like a little triangle, just like that. So moving and talking about her brother is motivating Patricia to feel a certain way. And what comes right out here is her feeling. And I wrote here that when she moves and talks about her brother, she feels unhappy. So that's the effect. The cause of her feeling unhappy is talking about moving and her brother. And the effect, the motivation for how she behaves is her being unhappy. And then I can go to another one here. So we have that here she actually describes her brother in a lot of detail. And then we notice that she's motivated to act in a certain way that shows us she's feeling disgusted. So right here we see that when she describes her brother, she describes Richie, it motivates Patricia to have a certain type of feeling. And the feeling that comes out right here is she is disgusted. All right, let's keep going. I can do one more and then I'll see if you would like to add on. So here we see that I added this one after we finished. She tells about her dance recital and she was feeling really proud at that moment when she told her mom all about it. So she tells about her important part in the dance recital. Oops, I forgot the word about. She tells about dance recital. It isn't the neatest, but that's okay. What's important here is I'm getting my thinking down and I'm doing my best to remember those important parts of the story that really tell us why Patricia was motivated to feel a certain way. So she tells about the dance recital. And this right here is motivating Patricia to feel proud. So I'd like you to go back to your map and see if you come up with anything about some other details in the story and how they might be motivating Patricia to feel. All right, so do the best you can to go back to your original tree map where we started to chart the character's feelings. Look at those details that you wrote down, really important, because that will clue you in to why the character was motivated to act in a certain way. All right, so do your best and then be ready to share with your teachers.